All right. Well, good afternoon and welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I am Omar Stennett. This is our second show for today. If you missed the first one, you'd have seen Mr. Danny Beckford speaking about football in St. Anne and in Jamaica. And if you did not, you need to go and watch that video. But this evening, right now, right here, we're going to be focusing on the NBA. This is the NBA show. And really and truly, I am sure got everything wrong in this NBA. But so I am going to bring in the experts to speak about it because I keep getting stuff wrong. So we have with us this evening, we have Pioneer who is going to be here. Chris Lynch is going to be here. G Star is going to join us later. So stay tuned. You know, we always want to tell you a little bit about our channel. So just watch our preview video. Yeah, man, this is I Am Sure Sports.
I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I may say this is right, just representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the date, don't you want to love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, man. So there you have it. I Am Sure Sports. Like I said, this evening we have with us, we have Pioneer, you know Pioneer very well, you know, very knowledgeable on local track and field, international track and field, and basketball. You know, has been getting some of his picks wrong in his NBA prediction. I would say that he's probably gotten 90% of them wrong because he's always selecting the Golden State Warriors, and they were out from the early stages. And then Chris Lynch, you know, he was banking on the Lakers, and then LeBron got injured. You know, and it just never worked out. Then he jumped on the Brooklyn. You know, he left LA and went into Grand Central Station, and now the train got derailed. So I don't know. He's gone out into the desert now, supporting the Suns. And then you know my thing already. They call them the nipple buckles. They were knocked out from early. So I don't know. You're unmute, Pioneer. You're mute. Go ahead.
Hold on.
Yeah, we're hearing you now.
Yeah, I said the New York nipple buckles, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Chris Lynch.
Yeah, but bless up my virgin Chris Lynch. It's interesting that you should take Chris Lynch there from we out west, came to the east coast, and now I'm going down south in the desert.
I'm telling you. Chris Lynch, what you have to say, sir? We're not, what are they? Go ahead, Chris Lynch. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm saying we don't have any other choice now but to stay with Phoenix. They knocked out the favorite for me, so now I have to stick with them.
Absolutely.
Slight correction, man. You said I've gotten a lot of my picks wrong. Ironically, I had the Bucks over the Nets.
Oh, so that's one. That's one out of how much? That's one out of 8. Say they get most of the wrong stuff.
And like a lot of people right now, I was smiling, leaving Just Bet today, you know.
Listen, well, before we even touch, welcome Countryman in the building. Bless up yourself, sir. Yeah, man. Good to see you. Thanks. Remember, people, if you're on, like, share the video, man. Let some people know that we're on. But we want to begin by discussing some track and field. You know, we had the trials, the US trials just completed over this weekend. And we have the Jamaica trials coming up this weekend. I mean, I think it's both the senior and the junior trials for Jamaica. But we're going to focus on the senior trials, just looking at the times in America and see, you know, how we are going to stock up against them out here. We also saw Blessing Ogenbari, think her name, the Nigerian,
Yeah.
equaling Shelly's time. Because she did 10.63. Boy, I'm telling, I don't know what is happening, but that video, I have to see a better version of that video because that video don't look. I don't know. Maybe I'm not supposed to be suspicious, but I didn't.
Yeah, there's a lot surrounding that video as far as I'm that race as far as I'm concerned. At first, we heard that the time was 10.62 as was displayed on the clock on the field of the stadium, and then it was said there was a trailing win of 2.7, which means the time would have been win aided, and then like 4 hours later, we got word that the time was actually 10.63 and it was with a legal wind of 1.8, a trailing wind of 1.8 meters per second. So I know it's a little, for me, it's a little muddled. Leaves a lot to be desired when I look at the race. And I mean, the clock is always a clock, but just my eyesight tells me that 10.63, or quote unquote 10.63, is a little questionable.
What are your thoughts? You saw the race? Have you actually see the race, Chris?
Yeah, actually look at it a couple times. I don't like to question the clock, but like what the governing body for track and field has done, they have said it's an illegal. It's a win-aided time, so that tells us about the time. That basically tells us it's not a time that it's verified by them. So there's not much to say about it. The governing body didn't rule it legal, okay. So nothing much to really say about it.
Okay, so why do they keep saying, because you're in the track and field, so why do they keep saying that she has the second fastest time of all time, though the governing body has not legalized her, you know, have not still, time limit?
Where have you heard that? Where have you heard that, though, man?
Huh?
Where have you heard that?
I cited an article today, man. I'll send you the article that they said that she has the second fastest time.
Because even listening to the commentators at the US trials, they didn't mention her time. While the 100 meter was running for the ladies, they didn't mention her time. So I don't know if other people, I don't know, still running with it, but
okay. All right, seeing that you touch on it, Chris, what are your thoughts on the female 100 meters at the and then I'll hear from Pioneer. Let's take it around the circle. What are your thoughts on the 100 meters? I mean, based on the results, and how does that match up with what you're expecting from our top? I would say top. I think we have a top 6 now. You can't even say top 3 anymore. I think it's at least probably top 5, which is Shelly, Elaine, Natasha, Brianna, and who else? Natalia White, VCB.
No.
What do you mean no? All right, let me hear you. Go ahead, and then Pioneer will come to you.
What are you asking about, man? You're asking about the US, the 100 at US trials. They're talking about our trials.
No, man, we're talking about the 100 at the US trials. What are your thoughts on it? And then, as you do that, what are your expectations of the Jamaica trials with our top 5? How you think we are going to match up with the top 3 at the US trials? Very long question, but
just a point of perspective. The US hasn't won a 100 meter title on the female side since 1996. If I'm correct, Pioneer can come in. Yeah,
since 96, and it's been a while since they have won it on the male side also. Not since the advent of Usain Bolt. So that we might be going into a 4th Olympic title, but it has been a longer time on the females side. It's been since 1996.
Obviously, Yeah,
Go ahead.
go Pioneer, go.
No, go ahead. Chris.
Yeah, but obviously, Shakiri, who don't she made a statement. Obviously, she has been running good, so she was obviously the favorite. It would have been an upset if she didn't win at this trial, and then Pioneer would have been here to beat her, to beat her
Gloating.
some more, and she failed to deliver at the trials because the US trials is a pressure trials also. You know, Pioneer know that, so he was looking forward to it to see how she would deliver. And I think she delivered, but she still has to work. She has a lot of work to do. She's not going to get up out of her blocks that late and win at the Olympics. She's not going because she's going to see Shelly-Ann in front of her, and I don't know what she's going to do, but she has to do something better on that first 40 meters. She's not quick out the blocks, and she just can't beat Shelly getting up so late. She has to do some work on that, but she has a top end speed like I guess like Usain Bolt. She has a top end speed that she finish her race very, very quickly. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think any of the US other after that finish in the top three should pose any threat to Shelly. I think
Daniels and
and
I don't think,
Oliver.
yeah, and Oliver. You know, interestingly, today I was watching the Doha Diamond League, and Oliver was actually in that race. She finished second to Shelly. I was the third. I think between she and Blessing Okobara was second and third. Shelly beat both of them by quite a distance, and running 10.87, I think she ran in that race. I was reflecting it and doing a comparison with how she held off Shakira Robinson for the first 60 meters.
Richardson.
Shakira Richardson, sorry. I think the little hype was kind of worn off, so we kind of forget him. Yeah, I was comparing it to how Oliver held her out for the first 60 meter I saw at the US trials. She does have top end speed, but I mean top end speed running against who? For me, I think Shakira Richardson has the making of a very good sprinter. I think she needs to cut out some of the extracurricular activities. I think too many, and I think that's where her coaches have to kind of sit her down and say, listen, you're going on a big stage now, you're running in a different, this is not the US again, you're running in a separate country. I mean, there is place for a like a showboating.
Showboat, yeah.
Showboating. But not after a semi-final. As much as Usain Bolt, and you can use Bolt as the ultimate showman, you never see Usain Bolt showboating on that level after a semi-final run. No medals are awarded after a semi-final. I think her extracurricular activities, I mean, I keep on using that term, after the semi-finals, cost her, I mean, you're talking about an hour and a half after for the finals. You need to rest, recuperate, rewarm yourself again, and then plan for your finals. All right, 10.87 into a -1 headwind. I didn't find that very impressive. As I said, Oliver was with her and leading her up to 60. She barely pushed ahead at about 70 or 75 and finished with maybe a meter and a half, 2 meter lead. She still has some work to do for me.
Okay. I agree with you that her start, I don't think anybody can give Shelly that kind of break at the start of a race and catch back Shelly. And that is the problem I don't mind. I think it is good for the sports, especially on the female side, because normally you see this kind of a thing on the men's side. You have your Justin Gatlin. You had this guy from Trinidad and Tobago a few years ago. Richards was his name. I think he actually.
You mean Burns?
No, man, not Burns. Who
one who came third behind.
Richard Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Richard. Right.
Are you talking about the showboating or just the quality of the?
No, man, showboating. He was he was into, man. Listen.
No, that wasn't Richard Thompson. That was Burns.
Oh,
Burns
after
was
that,
the man.
After that guy.
No man, there were two of them. There were Darrell Brown and Mark Burns, who had a little flair. They brought it from Carifta and they actually brought it to the international stage. As they got a little more mature, the showboating kind of toned down. But Richard Thompson was never a big showboater. He would do a little thing before the race, but he was never a big showboater, like a Bolt or a Maurice Green or any of those.
Yeah. But I think what she does is good for the sports, though.
Excellent marketing.
Yeah.
But that's it. Extracurricular activities in between races, man, is where.
Yeah, because I don't think Shelly or Elaine would win over 100 meters and with that time and celebrate like that.
No, I think you have to give her a pass, though, Pioneer, because we know that she's inexperienced, and she said something after the race. Her biological mom passed, so she's been going through a lot, and she's been trying to stay happy and all of that. So I give her a pass until she come to the big games where she's with the big girls, and she has to change her attitude, like what Pioneer said. But she get a pass because she's inexperienced, but she has to gain experience from it. So I agree with Pioneer, but she cannot do this thing at the Olympics.
And she's only doing the 100 meters because she's not doing the 2.
Come on, she's running the 2.
Yeah, she entered the 200.
She entered for the 2.
Okay. And yes, our coach is this. Coach means they just put up on here that Sherika Jackson.
Yeah, we heard that. I heard that today. Yeah.
You were aware of that, Chris Lynch?
Yeah.
So what are you?
She did it. She did the 200 in high school. She likes the 200 meters, but her coach thought that the 400 was her best chance of doing well on the circuit, and that was proven right because she did really well in the 400. But she did 200 in high school, and I think the work of the 400 meter, it's getting the athletes a little frustrated, and they don't really want to do the 400 meter work. You see it in the US trial. You see it in the US trial already. Curly, who is a good 400 meter runner, he came down to do the 1 and 2, and he made the finals in that. He made the team to go to Tokyo. So I'm looking for good things from her because this is a big decision to get her.
I don't know if you want to advance the discussion right there, no, Mannings, but I have a few things to say about that.
Yeah, man, we're going to stick right here. Yeah, man, we're going to go right here. But I'm going to add Coach Minzy because, and hear what he has to say. So we're going to add in Coach Minzy.
Manners.
That's it.
Pioneer and Christian.
Yeah, man, Pioneer. Yeah, man. Coach, we soon come to you. Pioneer, what do you have to say about this Sherika Jackson thing? So I want to hear your thoughts on it. And then we'll come to you, Coach Minzy.
You guys, the Sherika Jackson thing. All right. I am a little bit objected to it. I think our depth in the 100 meters is already established. I think what this does is I can't see her running all 3. I can't see her running the 1, the 2, and the 4. I think she stands for me, but I don't know what her coach is seeing in training. But I think she's training with Natasha Morris. So unless she's beating Natasha Morris and Elaine in practice, then I would think she has very little chance of making the 100 meter team. The 200 meter team, I understand Shelly is also going to Elaine. She stands a chance of making the 200 meter team. But what it does, it weakens our chances in the 400 meter because she's our best 400 meter prospect. So if she let's say she qualifies in the 200 meters, she definitely wouldn't be running the 2-4 at the Olympics because the schedules for the 2 and the 4 are kind of close. We have people like Shanae Miller and Alison Felix contemplating that they might not have to run one or the other. I'm a little bit ticked off with the IWF for not insisting that the IOC set the schedule to facilitate because you have some of its biggest stars, Shanae Miller, Alison Felix. I think if you allowed that double, you facilitated that double, it would have made for some interesting competition. So, but as it stands right now, the schedule is not set to facilitate an athlete doing both. So Sherika going to the 1-2 weakens us because I can't think about another viable prospect that we have in the 400 meters. She stands a chance. For me, she stands a chance of making the 200-meter team. But for me, it's going to be difficult in the 100. She ran what was it, 11:02 coach? She ran 11:02 earlier this year. But we're thinking about people like Natasha Morrison, who was gone 10:8. Shelley Ilian, people like Brianna Williams, who has gone 10:9 low and is looking to get better.
VCB.
So, well, VCB is on the comeback. We haven't seen her put down any great marker yet, but VCB is a champion. So you can never discount or count out a champion. So, but what it does, what her inclusion into the 100 and 200 meter, what it does, it just deepens the field. It adds intrigue to the whole 100 meter at our trials, but it weakens our prospect in the 400 meters.
Coach Minzy, what you have to say? Because you know some of this more than us.
All right, gentlemen, greetings again, and greetings to the viewers out there. Yeah, man. I take the side that Pioneer has taken. For me, I believe that this year would be a great opportunity for her to win the 400 meters at the Olympic. She has been coming some thirds at global championship, and I think with the possibility that Shawnee Miller is out, you have a Nasir who also has some cloud over her.
Oh.
I mean,
She's still suspended, coach, right? Nasir is still suspended.
It's kind of indecisive. She had a hearing, but we're not sure.
Okay,
she's
gone to the court of arbitration like Brianna Rollins.
Right. So I mean,
okay,
with that decision, but you say with Stephen Francis, you can't really understand what him the film thing, you know. That man is a magician. Even though magic don't work in sports, you have to work hard. But I just utilizing that term. To bring Sherika down to the 100, I'm wondering who he's trying to displace. It must be somebody who's trying to displace. You know what I mean? Because you have Natasha, you have Ilian, reigning champion.
But coach, he has two, and he has Ilian. Yeah, you have a wonder for you. You have a wonder.
You don't know what the coach is suggested.
Exactly. But if he the very fact that he brought her down, that tells me that she is in some sort of sub-11 shape. But how fast will she go? That is left to see. So I mean, it's intriguing, but for me, I really thought that she would have been in the 400 with a very great opportunity to win a gold medal, Olympic gold medal. As you said, Pioneer, the kind of prospect that we have in the female 400 meters is not as strong as it should be without a Sherika Jackson. So, I mean, but again, we can't really question a Stephen Francis. Yes, we can question him, but there's always a method behind the madness when it comes on to a coach making a decision. Sometimes the fans and the supporters don't like it. They are seeing it from their point of view, but he's seen it from an angle where he would have had hands-on experience. So for me, for him to bring her down, that is telling me that she is in sub-11 shape and somebody will be displaced, because it might not be easy, but coming this weekend, trust me, it's going to be, well, everything will come to light this weekend. Whether she make it
is she in 10-6? Is she in 10-6 shape, coach? If he's trying to display somebody, she must be in 10-6 shape. I can only think about one. I can only think about one other plausible explanation, coach, and is that she's probably trying to get into the relay pool, but then why not run the 1 and the 4? Or the 2 and the 4?
No, but she wouldn't have to run the 1
I don't know.
to go in the relay pool, Pioneer. She didn't have to run
to get into the relay pool, because she was in the relay pool in Doha. She was in the relay pool in Doha whilst running just
Like,
the 400 meters. So
I remember Olympics is all about the pride, you know. It's not all about the money. So it's not like a world championship where you don't want to put her in it to make
yeah,
some dough.
you're trying to get some. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why it's kind of hard to come to terms and grips with why you'd make that decision. But in the
I
200, I think she might be stronger in the 200 as well. But then again, Shelley would possibly line up in the 200, Elaine again. But I'm wondering, this decision could be a situation where Elaine is not 100% fit. That's why I'm saying
that's that
who will be displaced. So that is left
that's
to see.
Go
that's what
ahead.
that's
Go
what I
ahead.
wanted to allude to, coach, because it's obviously something is wrong with Ilian, and he probably go with one event with her because of that Achilles. I know it always act up on her. I think he's going to go with one event unless something change by now on the trials. But I can't see she running two events, and if Sharika is running 11 to over 100 meters, I must say I am scared to see the time she's going to run over 200 meters. Stephen Francis, like we say, must be trusted. There's no way she's running no 11 to in 100 meters, and we know what she
11,
can do over
11
400.
11:02, man, Chris Lynch. Not 11:02, 11:02.
Yeah, 11:02.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
But
it's a good
I,
it's a good time. I haven't seen her since then, so you don't know what type of shape she really in.
that was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, you haven't seen. That's what I'm saying. So if she's running at that at in the 100, and then we know what how fast she's over 400, it tells us that she's in a pretty decent shape for 200 meters.
I like the
Like,
perspective because
hold on, give me a second.
like,
Like coach Minzy do Mannings. I was thinking that her with her new and improved speed, she stood a very good chance in the 400 meters. And without Miller Weber and without Nasir, looking on the US trials, I didn't see anything scary that would suggest that she couldn't win, because she has been running third for maybe 3 or 4 championships now. And Miller Weber, it was at first Miller Weber and Alison Felix. Alison Felix is on the comeback now. She ran 50 point something yesterday. Nasir is out, and Miller Weber is probably gonna go 200. And I was thinking that this could have been, with her new and improved speed, this could have been her year in the 400 meter. But as you gentlemen are alluding to, then Stephen Francis must be seeing something that we are not privy to just yet. So let us see what the weekend brings.
And Pioneer, you see that speed that she was building up to have it transferred to the 400 meter, and that would have probably be some 48 time, you know. So because if you notice
49 low, 49 1, 49. Yeah.
Yeah, man. If you notice with Stephen
Yeah,
Francis,
man,
you know, with his quarter milers, with his sprinters, he normally change up his approach to his program. And many persons don't understand how Stephen Francis does his thing. But I mean, the man is a guru. Can't no two ways about it. So I am trusting him to get the best out of this athlete, and we hope that she will, you know, medal.
I like Chris Lynch perspective though, because could it be that Elaine is not in the best of condition and he wants to have at least 2 of his athletes in the pool for the 100 meter? So he says, just in case Elaine can't, she have to pull up, Sharika, you go in there because we stand a good chance of medaling along with Shelley if you are in there. Like, I feel like he trusts Sharika to medal more than Natasha Morrison.
And I must note that she doesn't like the 400 meters. I remember I was at her trials just before she ran that 49 at a championship. And I was there, and after she run, like Bolt, they tend to curse a lot after a 400-meter run. And they don't really like the 400 meters. It takes a lot of work. And I think when they can convince their coach to come down to 200 and 100, I think she must do something special in training for him to have so much confidence in still coaching her and expect her to make the 100 or the 200-meter team.
You see the 400
That will be revealed on the weekend.
Grueling event, you know. You see the training, it's not normal, you know. So many athletes, you really have to have some grit and some different mindset in order to do the 400. When you hear athletes talking about glutes lock, and not using the term that they use, me I kind of pretty it up. Glutes lock, trust me, a terrible thing. When they talk about a lactic build-up, trust me, the 400 meters is a grueling event. Even though it is a sprint, it's one of the long sprints that, trust me, tough. So the training and the background were always tough for the quarter milers them.
So based on what we are seeing from the American trials, we are just expecting just one person to offer any challenge at the Olympics, which is Shakira Richardson. Yeah, none of the other contenders are worthy of any mention based on what we have seen and the times that are being done.
Not in all. Tiana Daniels made the finals at the 100 meter in Doha in the last World Championship. She ran 8. She was 8, and I'm not seeing any vast improvement from her that would suggest that she would be doing anything scary. As I said, Oliver ran against Shelley earlier this year, and if you ask me, Shelley wasn't even at her peak. That was her second 100 meter, and Shelley beat her maybe by about 4 or 5 meters. I can't see her improving that much before the Olympics.
What I want to ask you, this was kind of the first pressure race, right, that Shakira Richardson is in terms of the final, and the time was reduced significantly. Was that based on just the pressure of the event, or just it was the wind that primarily affected her? Chris Lynch, right? You go first, and then we just go around from coach to point. Was it the wind, or it was the pressure of the moment and all the extracurricular activities?
I think she's not afraid of the moment. I think she really wants to do this for her family. Like I say, after the race, she went to family and all of this. I think she's ready for the moment. I think she's a show girl and she's ready for the moment. I didn't think the moment get any of her. I mean, the finals, you could say the finals, she really got up too late out of the blocks. Like, she can't do that elsewhere and get away. Our coach is going to talk to her about that, and they will be working on that, I guess, from now until the Olympics, because that is very important. I think that's the only part of her race I could look at and say the moment got her there. But that's her worst part of her race before the trials. Everyone know that she doesn't start well, but I don't think she's afraid of the moment. I think she really wants to talk bad and she really wants to run bad. So I don't think the moment get her.
All right, coach, Coach Minzy, what you say?
Shakari, the Ferrari. I mean, you know, even though I can say without reservation, she can't touch Shelley.
Easy.
Me like her though. You know why I like her? I believe that she's getting the best out of the competitors, because she bring her vibes and this trash talk thing that she bring. It's kind of unheard of on the female side. You know, the American males, the Sean Crawford and the Dennis Mitchell, which is her coach, the man they used to in the whole hype thing, you know, and the fanfare thing. And I think that is what she brings to the sport. It builds up vibes in my estimation. And I mean, you see this come out a block slow that she does and try to run down people. That's collegiate thing, you know.
Yeah.
And if the US trials field was stronger, she did in a show, you know. To be honest,
Yeah.
you know. So them things that work on the world stage where you come out a block slow and then you try chase athlete. I see the 200 meter you do to the college where he ran 19 point something, the NCAA thing, and people are rating him. But my assessment to that race, it would be something like an Antonio Watson. When the field is not hot, you can get away with something like that. But when you have seasoned professional, it's gonna be very difficult for you to make or take that risk in terms of having these athletes going ahead of you. You're trying to chase them, but using top end. But I like her. She should make the final at the Olympics. Definitely, I believe so. She, I believe, also will challenge for a medal. Because, as I said, she doesn't only trash talk. If she work on her start and all of these things, she's a dangerous athlete. She's talented, so we can't take nothing from her. So that's my few cents. So Pioneer, no, not Pioneer. Mullins, man. If you see me disappear, my batch you on charge, yeah?
Yeah, man. All right. Cool. You hear that? Yeah, man. Charge it up, coach.
All right.
Pioneer, what you want to say now? Yeah, man.
All right. All right. You asked what affected her in the finals. I would want to think it's a combination. To say that she is not scared at the moment. I have not seen her in many big moments. The biggest moment I've seen her in before this finals at this trials would have been the 2019 trials in the finals, where I don't know what was wrong, but she came out of the blocks and jogged from about 60 meters and finished 8th. I don't know if that would have been the only other big moment outside of the NCAA's championships that she was a part of. But in terms of a big international moment, now the wind would have definitely been a factor. I think she is not a powerful athlete. I think she more depends on her form to carry her through. So a headwind, unlike Shelly.
No, but Pioneer, sorry to interject, man. Shakari now the farm, man.
Yeah, man. I run in style is poor.
No, when I say farm, I'm thinking about.
So when they talk about farm, nah, support the part that.
No, when I say farm, understand me say farm. I'm thinking about her running style.
No, man, that is poor, man.
Hold on. I understand me. It resembles a Flojo, upright torso, legs forward, that sprinting style. That kind of style is affected, can be more affected by the wind, by negative wind. She's not a muscular athlete. She doesn't have a strong, she is not a strong sprinter in the ilk of Shelly or Dina Asher Smith. You saw where she got affected at the Gateshead meet by wind also. You understand? So as I said, the wind, the -1 wind blowing into her yesterday would have affected her. Definitely that start won't do her any justice anywhere at any major championship, running against anybody of any repute. All right, so I think for me it was a combination of the wind and the start. But the verdict is still out on whether she's one for the big time. I have to listen. The proof for me now, Christine, the proof for the pudding is in eating. Seeing I can tell you that Shelly is one for the big moment. Where Ilian is concerned, I'm still iffy with Ilian because I've seen her in big moments in 2016 where she rose. But then I saw her in 2017 where she wilted under the pressure. I saw her in 2019 again, albeit she wasn't 100%, where she didn't come up big in 2019 again. So where I can say Shelly is one for the moment, and I can speak that with some amount of confidence, I can't say the same thing for Shakari Richards. I have not seen her in that moment. I can say Dina Asher Smith is one for the big moment.
Yeah.
You understand? I can't say the same thing about Shakari. That is still to be proved.
All right. So that means Dina Asher Smith will be part of the medal contention with Akombari, fast race, part of medal contention, Shelly, Shakara. So what does that mean? Ilian, not part of medal conversation?
I was watching a vlog today, and I made a comment on the vlog. It was maybe an hour ago. And I said Shelly for the gold, Dina Asher Smith for the silver, Ilian for the bronze, Blessing for 4th place, Shakari Richards for 5th. Somebody came on the vlog and asked me what I was smoking. So, I tell
What
I
do you
told
think,
the
coach?
person I'm in Jamaica, so I told them I'm in Jamaica, so they must imagine what I'm smoking. So
Hey,
that is just my pick
US,
for the
the US
finals.
people are very defensive of her not
And that was
declining.
before we were having a discussion about.
Go ahead,
Come
go
again.
ahead, Coach Benzi.
Yeah, I'm saying that the US
Right.
people are very defensive of her. I think she has now
I
become
know.
one of their darlings. She lost her mother about 2 weeks ago, and they kind of sympathize with her, especially with her.
Oh, Coach Benzi, frozen. Chris Lynch, what do you think?
Yeah.
Your pioneer list of medal purses. Shelley, Asher Smith,
I'm still
Ilian.
waiting to see the Jamaica trials, because that's how I judge Ilian. I really want to have her next to Shelly. Shelly is undoubtedly the favorite, but I really want to see Ilian. I'm waiting after the trials, and I still want to see Talo from Ivory Coast. I really
Yeah,
like her, and I think she's a big moment runner, and
as
I have
well.
time for her. So I'm looking for the trials. After those trials, then I can probably give a medal. Pioneer was just what you call getting some people upset on a block.
All right. But let's go to the men's 100 meters, because the time, like this gave me hope that Jamaica could get a medal. If these are the times going into the Olympic from the American trials in the final, because it's a lot of 1085s and stuff. The top three, I know Justin Gatlin didn't make it, Trevor and Bramell was first. Was it Freddie Curley was third? And what's that other young guy?
Yes.
Bean. The second place was who again, Chris Lee?
Baker.
Ronnie Baker.
Ronnie
Ronnie
Baker.
Baker.
Right. Yeah. So Ronnie Baker second and Fred Furley third. Noah Lyles was all the way down in
Seventh.
sixth, seventh,
Seventh.
and Justin Gatlin eighth.
The US, I detected something, with this Noah Lyles thing, The US is
Yeah, this-
desperately looking for somebody
Go ahead.
to take Bolt's place. And in spite of Noah Lyles not being a 100-meter sprinter, I think they're set up. I think when you look at how they're set up, even the first round and the semifinals, they're desperately trying to get Noah Lyles on that team. It didn't work out for them. They gave him a very weak first round entry, and they basically gave him a little pass through the semifinals. But he doesn't have in the 100-meter. They keep on insisting and them keep on a try with him. But he's not a 100-meter sprinter. I don't think he'll ever be very good at the 200, but I don't think he'll ever make it in the 100. You said something, though, Mannings, about us having hope because of the poor times in the US trials. I don't see we have anybody running. How many of our athletes have broken 10 seconds since the year has started?
You went 9 something recently.
10, 9, 9, 9, 7.
Yes,
997.
it's under 10. What is under 10, brother?
Yeah, but 997 is a far cry from 985.
Yeah, you know
That
what
would
though?
have come 6 in the US trials, and that's not running rounds. You have to remember that, Mannings, man.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that leading up to when he ran behind Usain Bolt the last time, leading up to that, he wasn't running really fast times. It was at the trials that he really did that fast time, and then after that, going into the champ, I just think could be building up because his time has been gradually coming down. You don't realize that if you look at all his races, he started high 10s, low 10s, under 10. So I feel like his time is going to go down.
I think if Blake is our best prospect, then
We
we have a little
cannot
bit of trouble.
medal.
I am looking for something magical from one of the youngsters. I think we might have 2 youngsters on this team. Sachin Dennis beat a lot of the big boys in a meet at the stadium when he ran 10
And Oblique Civil.
5. Blake Civil, I think, will also make that team. I think that will go well for us for future. I can't see any of those youngsters or Blake medaling. And we might have a finalist or 2, possibly. We can hope for a finalist, but that honestly at this time, unless I see something different on the weekend, speaking now from what I've observed to this point in the season, I am not very hopeful of us garnering a medal in the men's 100 meter.
Or the 200?
200, the prospects in the 200 are even weaker than in the 100.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, you same sort you have Chris Lynch, no medal for the men in the 100 meters.
Yeah, I can't see. I can't see anyone that like I
But
said, our fastest runner would have come sixth in the US trial. So I don't know why you have hope.
I have hope because guess what? He's the only one who has this Olympic, except for the guy from
Experience.
Canada, experience. If you look at the American, they
Yeah.
have not really run at the Olympics. The top three in the 100 meters.
No, Bramwell is very experienced. Bramwell
Come on,
Bramwell
Bramwell
is
has been doing it from college, you know. He has been doing it
yeah,
from college,
Bramwell
and he was in the Olympics and the world. He was at the World Championship 2015.
he was tipped
Yeah.
right behind Bolt and Blake. He was picked to come right between them, you know. Just like Blake, he got injured.
Yeah.
Blake must be when
Yeah,
Blake
injured,
look at
yeah.
him, Blake must be looking at him and say, "Oh, he's so bad lucky," because Bramwell was, I think it was the same sort of injury. And to see Bramwell coming
Yeah.
back running like this, it's going to be very hard to stop. Especially, it was the same situation, man, because doctors tell him that he shouldn't run again. And here he is running. He's a favorite going into the Olympics.
Even though you know, Christian, I just have a feeling that we might get a surprise winner in the 100 meter. I'm eyeing somebody from Africa. The South Africans have a very good program going. I like Hakeem Sembini.
They have an athlete that got banned today. The long jumper.
South Africa?
Yeah, man, the long.
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, man, the long jumper.
Sprint pro. The South African sprint program. They actually won the 4x1 at the World Relays, you know, in the absence of Jamaica and the US. All right. But the South African have I think they have maybe 2 or 3 very talented sprinters. As I say, I like Hakeem Sambini. I'm looking for something from him.
What about our guy from Canada?
DeGrasse, he got some injuries. He's on his way back. But I just don't think the US is gonna. And I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers again, Christian. I'm not trying to hate. But there's just something that tells me that we're gonna get. And let me use this word: a non-traditional winner in the men's 100 meter at this Olympics in Tokyo.
All right. What do you think? Any surprises for you, Chris Lynch?
No, I can't see anyone beating Bramwell once he stays fit.
Okay.
Bramwell.
Yeah. Yeah.
I look at him in a Christian, and he's not out of class for me. When you look at a Bolt or even a Gatlin when he was running well, and you would say they're out of class. I just don't think Bramwell is out of class. The field was right there with him last night in the finals. They said he ran 9:77 earlier this year. I looked at the race. One of them times I'm really suspicious again. I think he's a 9.8. I think he's a 9.85 runner as he showed last night. But I just think that somebody else can pop. I think DeGrasse has 9.8 in him. And I think Hakeem Sambin have 9.8 in him. So as I said, I think there might be. That's for me. I just have a gut feeling that we might have a non-traditional country or an unexpected winner in the men's 100 meter.
Yeah. All right. So that's the last female event we want to look at. Chris Lynch, you can take this one. Alyssa Felix, you know, child's birth, trying to do the Shelley and Fraser Prize, you know, show that out of a child's birth you can still go to the Olympics and medal. Feeler is an athlete that I normally like, you know, and I just, you know, she's one of those athletes that Jamaicans, she normally come to whatever event we're having in Jamaica, you know, she normally come out and support that. What are your thoughts in terms of her and the Olympics? Like I said, with so many persons not looking at running the 400, Sharika Jackson, you know, my pick really, I had picked Stephanie and McPherson. And so, yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, she's one experience again. It's going to be very hard to beat her come to championships. I don't know if she can get any better, but there's not a bad lane for her, especially lane 7, lane 6 these days is not bad. She run out of lane 8 yesterday and she came second. Those lanes are not no bad lanes when it comes to 200
Yeah.
again. I mean 400 meters again, because because of how people flying out of those lanes these days. But after child's birth, she didn't look bad, and she still hasn't looked bad. And if she's going to get better, she has a medal to get with Willow Weebo and Nazir and all of them not there. I think she might just beat a third place if she can improve her time.
Right, Pioneer, what do you have to say? Alison Felix.
Alice, all right. Again, we speak about people who are ready for the moment. People who are championship contenders who you can't discount or you can't count out. Alison Felix for me is one such person. She's made for these moments. Last night, when you look at last night's race, she was in 6th coming down the home stretch. She came back and got second in the race. I can only see her getting better between now and the Olympics. And if there aren't any strong contenders in the 400 meter, it wouldn't come as a surprise to me if Alison Felix won the 400 meter Olympics.
All right. So listen, those are the like I said, I think if Shericka Jackson,
yeah.
I think if Shericka Jackson not going to go, the only hope is Stephanie and McPherson. I think she's the best of the lot that we have outside of Shericka. I'd really hope that Shericka would find a way of, maybe she get eliminated from the early rounds at the 100 meters, and then she just up to go and do the 400. I don't know if it will be too late. But I think Stefan McPherson is going to medal at the Olympics. I just have that feeling just based on how I've seen her change her running style in terms of how she does the race. She's going out faster than normal. You understand me? She has done a lot of strength work. She did some 200 meters. So I could see her with so many persons out picking up a silver or bronze medal for us in the 400 meters. And so, I don't know. I don't see anyone else on the female side really.
Let's see what the trial brings. Maybe Stephen Francis has some secret weapon 400 meter runner that he's bringing to the trials. We could see a lot being all right. Listen. Let's look at it. Before the Olympic trials of 2008, nobody saw Shelley. She was in the relay pool at the 2007 World Championships in Tokyo, mind you, in Tokyo. She ran a leg, and I think in the qualifying round, I think we got silver in that relay. But before then, nobody saw Shelley before the 2008 Olympic trials. So, and that was some Stephen Francis magic, as Coach Minzy wanted to say. We just said. So we might be seeing some more Stephen Francis magic, maybe in the 400 meter. Maybe Shericka Jackson has something to show us both in the 1 and the 2. We might just be surprised. So let's wait and see what the weekend brings, and then we can start going forward. We might just see somebody pop up for the 400 meter from Stephen's camp or maybe somewhere else, and we might just have a viral prospect. And something that I find another thing that I find very interesting. I don't know if you heard this, Christine. I heard that Tajay Gill will be contesting the sprint, the 100 meter.
Yeah. Been hearing rumors of he want to do that for a while.
I saw a race that he ran at the stadium where he beat some of the big boys too and ran something like 10 or something. So who knows? Tajay Gill might spring a surprise, and I don't know if Tajay Gill can go 9.9 and 9.8. He looked good in that race. I didn't know of him as any reputable sprinter before that I saw him there. I heard Stephen Francis in an interview saying that Tajay Gill is a very good sprinter. And then I saw that 10.0 something. So who knows? Maybe Tajay Gill can spring us a surprise in the 100 meter. Let's hope. Let's just hope for good things come this week.
All right. Well, we're going to shift now unless there's anything else on the track and field you want to bring up, so we can shift for the second hour and some basketball. Because I feel hopeless talking about the basketball. Like I said, listen, I don't even want to pick a team because I pick the Knicks to lose. Me pick Brooklyn lose. You understand? Me pick Utah lose. I don't even want to say I pick the Suns because next thing, you understand? So
Stay over there, management.
yes, I pick the Clippers.
Right now, he's
I
not.
must pick the
Right now,
Clippers.
right now, he's not. Right now, he's nowhere, Chris Lynch. He's nowhere right now. You tell him
Yeah,
to see
yeah, yeah.
audio where he is right now. He's nowhere at present.
I don't even know. So let's go into the East. What is going on with Atlanta, man? Is it like they're not a fluke? They are a good team. And if you underestimate them, you do that at your own peril. I think that Doc Rivers is a very poor coach, but you have to give Atlanta some props, right? And
Um,
I I've been saying to people a long time, that if you are a shooting guard or a point guard and you can't make free throws, you should not be a starter in the NBA. Oh, you know
Ben
what I'm
Simmons,
talking
I
about.
think, I think this playoff. We all right. We suspected Ben Simmons. Let me tell you something. All right. Ben Simmons is a player who I touted highly early in his career. There's an expectation that when a player comes into the NBA, especially if he's coming to college or if he's coming to high school, he's not the finished product. There's an expectation that as the seasons progress, a young player will work on different aspects of his game and get better. Ben Simmons has been an exception to that rule. Obviously, this young man doesn't work on the weak aspects of his game. And even what even makes it even more egregious is that he falls off because for example, his free throw shooting. His free throw. He shot the free throw in the regular season at something like 65%. But come playoff now, he's shooting at 52 and 53%, which means he has fallen off. So not only is he not working on his weaknesses during the off season, but his game is regressing from the regular season to the playoff. And I think he has cost himself some amount of stature in the league. He's probably gonna cost himself some money. He's gonna cost himself his place at the Philadelphia 76ers. Because I can't see them. I see the Philly trying to trade him out right now. I see them trying to get him out of Philly right now because unless he goes in this off season and works on his game intensely and come back early in the next season and show vast improvement to his free throw shooting and two, having some semblance of a jump shot, then him stocks will continue to fall in the NBA.
Yeah, Chris Ridge, what you have to say about
So,
Philly being knocked out by Atlanta? Go ahead and
Yeah, let's continue where Pioneer was first. That was a big mistake. When James Harden put that he wanted to go, Philadelphia was one of the team he wanted to go. Should have easily sent Ben Simmons away. Should have easily
I
taken
think
James
that was
Harden.
hampered. I think that was hampered by just the fact that the Houston manager is the manager in Philly, and that Daryl Morey and the owner didn't want to trade with him. But that would have been a trade that Philly would have been much better off right now having done. But as I said, all right, for me, Marlins, I think Philly beat themselves last night in the series, more than Atlanta beating them. They were up.
Yeah.
You had two big leads. You had two big leads in game 4 and 5.
Yeah,
Was game 3
without putting much on Ben Simmons, Doc Rivers has to get all the blame.
Yeah,
I can't even give nobody else the blame. He did this with the Clippers. He was leading most of these games with double figures, up 3-1 in a series, and leading games in double figures. And teams come back and beat you. And he did the same thing now again, going to our next team in double figures again, and team come and not just double figures, 20 points, 22 points, and teams coming back to beat you. That cannot happen That cannot happen in a basketball game so many times for what to one coach. It must be
Consistent to one
something
coach.
that it must be something that the coach is doing
Some
wrong.
deficiency in your coaching style or your coaching acumen that would allow you. My virgin G style is Doc Rivers is a motivational speaker. He said it on this podcast, the mornings, that Doc Rivers is not a coach; he's a motivator.
Well,
He often laments.
listen, I can't take G Star word and Doc Rivers though, because he don't rate him at all. So you have to put that in context.
It is things like this though. It is results like these though mornings that would explain the lack of ratings of people like G Star for Doc Rivers. Now, when we were having a discussion earlier, I came out somewhat in defense of Doc Rivers, but as Chris just said, results like this make you have to take a step back and give people them space to criticize them harshly. Because as I said, I will dish out a vast proportion of the blame to Doc. But people like Ben Simmons have to take some amount of blame. Let me tell you another criticism that I have for Doc. Seth Curry, the least of the Curry brothers, or the less of the Curry brothers, was having a very good series. And you know, so throughout the entire series, and I dare anybody to differ, Doc has not called one play for this virgin. All of the points he Steph, and he had one game where he scored 37. He had another game where he had about 2 or 3 games he had in the 20s. I think he had somewhere in the teens last night. But I think he was shooting at 60-something%. Now you have a hot hand on your team. Ride the hot hand, call some plays for the youth, and he's very good from three. He's one of the better 3-point shooters in the league. You should be riding a hot hand like that. You keep on going through Embiid to Embiid to Embiid. Embiid is a player who is injured. He's carrying an injury. He gets worn down at certain points in the game. You can see where every fourth quarter, Embiid was worn down. In game 6, I saw him do something. He started slow in game 6 and reserved a little bit of energy for the third and fourth quarter, and it worked in his favor. He was somewhat fresh in a game 6, and they won that game. In game 7, he started to carry the burden from early in the game. See, and he got worn out. He was obviously worn out last night. So when you see people like Ben Simmons that pass up a open dunk last night, I give a large proportion of blame to Doc, but I also share out a sizable part of that blame to Ben Simmons also. Not being able to make free throws, getting gun shy, not wanting to take shots, shying away from the ball basically. When he's on the court, the man refused. I saw there was a play in game 6 where he was at half court and he had the ball in his hand. And somebody came towards him and he basically threw the ball out of bounds. And I said, come on, Bridget. You as a franchise player, the point guard, the man who needs to have the ball in his hand, can't be operating like that. As I say, I think his stocks has taken a hit. And unless he does something drastically different coming into next season, he will continue to be on the decline. As I said, for me, that was 70% of Philly beating themselves and 30% of the Atlanta had beating the Philadelphia 76. When you look at how poorly Trae Young shot last night, but yet still they won the game. Trae Young was something like 5 of 25 last night.
Yeah. Chris Lynch, how good is Atlanta though? Because we can blame Philly, but how good is this Atlanta team in your...
I always thought they were good because if you remember on the podcast, I said although it didn't happen, if Ben Simmons, if MB didn't play 2 games, I thought it would have been too much games to miss against this team because of how they are shooting. So I rate them highly because of how they are shooting, but I didn't know they could have beat them with Embiid. But Embiid was like Pioneer said, wasn't at his best. So it's not surprising. Trae Young is balling, he's playing good ball. And I have to go back to Doc one more time. Tyrese Maxey, had this been Ty Lue, he would have to play more minutes because he showed that he can be trusted. And he didn't get a lot of minutes. He didn't reward the young man with the confidence that the young man reward him with. He didn't reward him back and say, here you go. You turn up for us in a pivotal game 6. Here you go. Take game 7. Last night didn't feel like a game 7 from a Philadelphia. I just didn't get the feel like it was. sometimes I see some turnover and I'm like, this is not a game 7. It doesn't feel like a game 7. I don't know if it was because of the high bar that the Nets and the Bucks was on that put that game 7 on, but last night just didn't feel like a game 7.
It's a low quality for a game 7.
When you mention Terrence Maxey, Chris, Terrence Maxey and they resemble each other physically. Terrence Maxey and Man.
And Man.
Yeah. And when you look at how much faith Tylo put in Man and how he was rewarded for it. Because even last night he had a decent game. I think he had maybe 9 points. He had three big 3-pointers last night. And as I said, I don't think that, you know, I think that stuck as a coach.
Not that only too. Maxi was so confident. He was shooting the ball from way behind the arc. So that tells you that the young man has confidence, you know. Sure. And that didn't reward him. I didn't feel like that reward him. And I think had it been any other coach, then they would have went back for Maxi as someone that they can rely on in a game 7 and give him and just show him that you trust him. That's all he had to do. But he didn't do it, and that's why I have to give Doc. I can't even look at Ben Simmons because he didn't do nothing that we don't expect him to do. Really, because we don't expect him to shoot the ball.
A couple of the players last night. I don't know if you saw that one that they kept on showing over and over. The one that Gallinari, he turned and dismissed Gallinari. Had that dunk.
And should have dunked the ball and passed it over to George Hill.
At the time, it was 35 seconds left in the game. They were down by 2. That dunk would have tied up the game. He tried to make a pass. I think it was to Embiid, and Embiid got a double team, and the ball was fumbled and on the last position. All right, and that was almost game set a match for them right there. Simmons for me get a portion of the blame. While I will dish out the larger portion, as I said to that, Embiid can't go blameless. Not just for last night alone, but for the entire series.
Embiid or Simmons?
Yeah, but let me tell you one of the reasons I blame.
Simmons can't go without blame for me.
Let me tell you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I would blame Doc Rivers because Dwight Howard was so instrumental for the Lakers last season in the bubble. Embiid obviously was tired. I think he could have utilized Dwight Howard a whole lot more, especially when they had those big leads. When they had those big leads, I think, and so you could have rested Embiid. So I don't think he managed his team.
The difference, though, Mannings, is that because Dwight Howard doesn't shoot the tree, he doesn't stretch a court like an Embiid. So when Dwight Howard is in the game, the team plays a bit different. Dwight Howard was efficient in the series. I think in that game that they came back from 25, that second unit that came in with Dwight Howard, I think they kind of started the slide. They didn't score any points. Atlanta, I think they were in the game for maybe about 4 or 5 minutes, and they didn't score any points at that period of time. And that was where Atlanta started making their run. Now, I can agree with you that Dwight Howard could have been probably utilized a little bit more earlier in the game and preserve Embiid.
Yeah.
Later on in some games. But the deficiency with Dwight Howard is that he not shoot the tree, so he not stretch the court as much as Embiid.
And the one reason why I can't say I disappointed with Howard minutes, most of the time, Stubai, he didn't have a second scorer. Most of the time, he has to be looking to Embiid. So when he's looking to rest Embiid, there's no scoring really. If Seth Curry or Tobias Harris is off, then he can't really rest Embiid. The only time Embiid can get a rest really, especially in a game 7, is if somebody's going off. Nobody going off, so you can't really rest him for too long. Last night when he tried it, Howard was a mismatch on the court. Basically, he put him on and then after, he was a mismatch on the court. But yeah, so the Embiid wasn't a big factor, but probably like I said earlier on, he could have utilized him because Capella isn't a 3-point shooter. So he could have matched it with Capella minutes a little bit.
Yeah, true.
How do you feel against the Milwaukee Bucks, who not better than the Brooklyn Nets, definitely, but luck was on their side. We must say, whatever them drinking over there, man, is the luckiest team probably in NBA to reach a conference
I,
final. I don't know.
I must
They must
say,
have been glad.
yeah,
Must have been glad
yeah,
that
man,
Kevin Durant played so many minutes.
yeah, man, who you said hasn't gotten his predictions right. The last time I was on this podcast, I said Bucks in 7 against the Nets.
No, you only said that
And
because you had a bet on it, man. You weren't.
no,
You
but
weren't.
no, but Brethren, but hold on, but I should get a little more credit for that. Not only did I speak it, I put my money where my mouth was. Yes, sir,
Yes.
Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
man,
if
you
you're a
have a
man,
big
so
credit. A
if
big
you're a
credit
man
that you
who,
don't
if you're a
manage,
man
man.
put, yeah, if you're a man who speak with conviction and then go ahead and back it up with a bet, I think we deserve a few more points to that, Brett.
That mean he really
But
believed it, management. That is the whole fact about it.
He was hoping that Kyrie didn't return. So his bet was really, boy,
man,
I pray that they might.
my bet. Remember, I said that before the series started,
Yeah.
And then James Harden went down in game 1, and Nets went up 2-0, and I was bashed and beaten. I was bashed and beaten and here in some groups by some notable sports enthusiasts and sportscasters on radio. When the series went to 2-0, I was so assured that I went and topped up my bet at 12. So
that is when they found out that Kyrie was out.
No, but James had come back. So it's not about Kyrie. But all right. Whilst I will not sit here and tell you that the Nets wouldn't have had a very good chance of winning the series if all 3 of their stars were healthy. There's no certainty.
If 2 of those stars were healthy.
All right. Listen, this is basketball. I mean, you might have a situation where minus 1 star a team plays better than with all 3 stars. You could find that you might have that situation. However, there are certain things that I had observed, are certain advantages that I had given the Bucks in the series that I thought if they utilized those advantages, it would have given them a chance in the series. And some of those advantages they did use. For example, Brook Lopez. After the first 2 games, I said they needed to slow down the games, and kind of muck up the games a little bit. They did that with PJ Tucker and Kevin Durant, where they had PJ Tucker dogging Kevin Durant, and even though Durant had a better at that, it basically affected the whole flow of the Nets team. And it gave the Bucks a better chance. Where the Bucks almost defeated themselves for me is Giannis is insistent that he's a jump shooter. He's insistent on trying to shooting the 3, and then he's almost Ben Simmons like attitude where his free throws were concerned. I found it so amusing that in the last 2 games, the Brooklyn crowd was counting him down when he was shooting free throws. They're like 1, 2, and when they reach up to 10, but he hit a few. But I think unlike Ben Simmons, he's a player who works on his game. But I don't know. It's just that free throw deficiency. It's gonna take something away from all he can be as an NBA player.
All right.
I think his upsides are so high. Yeah, go ahead.
Chris Lynch, what are your thoughts?
That was the big reason. That was the big reason that I'm still surprised that the Bucks still won. Nonetheless, that Kyrie and James Harden, Kyrie wasn't there and James Harden wasn't at his best. Because I just thought when it came down to the end, and if the games are tight, more than likely Kevin Durant will have his way, and Giannis will get fouled and go to the line, and it won't work out for him. So I'm surprised, and I must say I'm surprised they still win because the games were close. It's not like the games were some blowout. They were close, and that's why I picked the Nets confidently because I'm like, if these games are close, Giannis cannot finish the game, and I think that's exactly what happened. Game 6, he gave away the game. Like what Pioneer said, he turned into a jump shooter. James Harden is on him, and he's in the paint. And all he has to do is turn and throw a floater, and he backs away, steps away to take a jump shot. Those are the reasons why people think the Nets would have won. But Middleton, Holiday, PJ Tucker, Brook Lopez, Farbs, they turned up at some point in games and
Critical
helped
points on
their
the game. Yeah,
superstar
true.
Yeah, yeah.
especially Middleton. That last shot that he took in game 7, that was a dagger, like just turning around on one foot and jumper. That was basically a dagger.
Yeah, but you know what I'll say
You know,
though? Here's why I wanted KD to because I saw KD when it came to crunch time, marking or defending Yanis. I saw Yanis leaving KD for Drew Holiday to guard him. Like
our
I'm
PJ
thinking to
Tucker.
my Drew Holiday, brother. Drew
Our PJ
Holiday.
Tucker. It was one
Drew,
I both.
our PJ Tucker. But
Yeah.
but
Our PJ
I'm
Tucker.
saying
Yeah,
that
yeah.
even when they did the pick and roll and they have a switch, whatever they did for the switching, all right? And Yanis supposed to be matched up with KD. It's almost like him trying to create his own switch so somebody else can
Switch
do
off.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm saying that KD, on the other hand, though he
To the
was
challenge.
tired, though he was the
To the challenge
primary
of
scorer,
guarding
the
Giannis.
man that defend Yanis. That is my issue.
All right. You see,
That is my issue
you
with
see,
Yanis. How do I call him a
you see,
superstar when I
you
see
see the
that?
difference. You see the difference with that though. While I must agree that is some amount of shying away because Giannis have this big respect for KD now, and I've heard a couple of people beat him for coming out and saying that even in the middle of the series when he said KD is the best player in the world. But we have to understand though, the difference though, Mannings, is that the Bucks have 3 or 4 people that they can use to guard KD. PJ Tucker was his primary defender. Middleton guards him sometime, and as small as Drew Holiday might look, he has great body strength, and he's also kind of long. So even though he's he's maybe 4 inches shorter than KD, he still does a good job guarding KD. Them also have Brook Lopez, who is very long. On the other hand, now the Nets have nobody else to guard Giannis. There's nobody else on the Nets, and this is where people kind of question the Nets in the early season that they were a poor defensive team. Apart from KD, there's nobody else on the Nets that you could say. Blake Griffin when he's down low, but on the perimeter, nobody else. Or when he drive to the basket. When he's driving to the basket, he's only basically on the KD have the length to contend with him. So I agree with what you're saying, but fortunately for the Bucks, they have other defenders who could
Pioneers.
guard KD.
All right. I'm not saying that guard him for the whole game. For that game to go in overtime, Giannis should have been the man. When KD hit that shot to bring the game into overtime, the Bucks, this is the last play of the game.
Sure.
Drew Holiday has 4 fouls. You have 3. You have the height. KD have the height over Drew Holiday. Why didn't you guard him? And I'm not saying for the whole game, but I mean the game went into overtime. And if KD wasn't tired, they would have lost in overtime. That's just the truth. And I'm saying he had the opportunity.
I can agree. I agree with you, Mannings, but there's all right. If you understand the flip side of 2 things, what part of the reason why KD was that tired, is that he had defensive duty. He had a stellar defensive duty too. Now you could almost argue that it might be strategy for Giannis to keep himself fresh on the offensive end by not doing as much on the defensive end. Whilst KD did a lot on both ends and was worn out at the end of the game. You understand? Whilst Giannis was somewhat tired too, but he was the fresher player at the end of the game. You can't allude to that.
That's a good point, Pioneer, because Mannings, man, there's nothing much you can really do to stop Durant, While I agree with you that Giannis, the defensive player of the year, should mark him, they probably think that Durant is going to get his, whether it's 60 or 50, he's going to get his. Just leave him to get his, but let's keep Giannis fresh so he can
he's
do
the main scorer.
Yeah, so he can do his thing on the offensive end. That's the only way I could look at it. But your suggestion is good, Mannings, man. That should have been the case. There wouldn't be a case where LeBron James wouldn't match up against Durant in a game like that.
I am going to come to that now because if LeBron James, if KD had the last shot and LeBron James left KD for Kyle Kuzma to guard him, with that amount of time left, everybody would criticize him that he's not good.
Yes, Pioneer would have been on all airwaves
So we need
asking
to.
why that is the case. You would
Listen, listen. Let's not talk about LeBron again, KD. The last couple of times when you see that happen, it never work out too good for LeBron.
no, but
So
me
we
just
never get
tell
into that.
management. I just told management that there's no one really who can stop KD from
Yeah,
having.
man, KD, and as I said, all right, you can't be too critical of the Bucks or Giannis right now, Mannings, is that it worked out and they won the game.
Yeah.
So the fact that they win the game means that you have to basically say to them, say, boy, all right, give them that whatever strategy they were employing, it worked out on their behalf. Giannis was fresher down the stretch, while KD was worn out.
So who you going with? Eastern Conference. Chris Lynch, who is your pick? Bucks, Atlanta. I know Pioneer going with the Bucks because he can't go elsewhere because that's where his money is.
Bucks 4-1. Bucks in 5.
Every time I pick Atlanta, I pick Atlanta. Know what they can do? I pick them against New York. I pick them against Philly. I'm not picking against them in this Eastern Conference final. I'm riding with Trae Young. He's a dog, and I am riding with him in this Eastern Conference final. Trae Young for my money. Trae Young in 7.
In 7.
All right.
The only thing I say is that I think Drew Holiday is probably the best guard in terms of defending Trae Young that we are going to see throughout. So it will be very
interesting
because in this series I realized that Drew Holiday is a very good.
He's a combo guard. Yeah.
He's very good.
He's very good.
Because he can guard the point guard and the shooting guard position.
Chris, remember me tell you about the series versus Portland when him there down at New Orleans. I'm gonna tell you what he did against Damian Lillard. He held Damian Lillard to 16 points per game for the series. I think this would have been his roughest series because he would have been coming into a series expecting to guard between James Harden and Kyrie Irving, and then as you saw, even sometimes Kevin Durant. I think his confidence is gonna be on top of the world in that Atlanta series, and I think we will see the best version of Drew Holiday in that series. I am not predicting a long series.
It's going to be I'm
expecting Giannis.
You know what I think
Giannis to dominate Capella. Yeah.
No, it's not Capella. It's Jason Collins going guard him.
No, man. They might dominate whoever. Collins can't guard Giannis, man. He's not long enough.
Him too small. Too small.
Then who going guard Brook Lopez if him guarding Capella? If Capella guarding Giannis?
That is a point. Because
they're going to use Bogdanovich or someone else.
Yeah, they probably try to use Bogey for sure. They're going to try and use Bogey. But I don't expect it to be a long series. I expect Bucks to dominate the series. I think they're going to be on a high coming off this win over the Nets. They have the higher seed. They're going to have home court. The first 2 games are going to be in Milwaukee. I expect them to go 2-0 up. I expect the Hawks to win one of the games at home, and I don't know them want win the third one or the fourth one. And then I expect Bucks to come back home, come close it out in a game 5. That's how I see the series, guy.
Well, I am going to go with Chris Lynch.
That's not good for Chris Lynch.
7. Series going to 7. And then I'm going to watch it first.
Push him on off your wagon. Hey, Chris, push him on off your wagon.
They're trying.
But over in the Western Conference, boy, Phoenix Suns look superb without Chris Paul, beating the Clippers in game 1. I know Chris Paul supposed, because it was COVID protocol, so it's not really injury. So he has gotten some rest. He should be coming back for game 2. Not sure if Kawhi is going to be ready. Yeah. How do you see? Yeah. How do you see that going? I think Chris Lynch, you were saying it earlier. I think today in our group about how like many people are saying that Chris Paul is a man, but he's really Booker. Because Booker is he's a baller.
Yeah, like I was saying yesterday, I think Chris Paul kind of takes some of the shine off Booker just because of how Chris Paul manages the team and do a very good job of closing out games and manage the clock and all of that. But Devin Booker is to be taken serious. He's a serious player. Shoots the ball good. and wasn't shooting the 3-point good up until like the second game in the series against Lakers. Because he didn't have a what you would call a good 3-point year this season. But he has gotten better as series gone by now, and he's looking very lethal. And DeAndre Ayton must be taken seriously. And coming off the bench, Cameron Payne has a very good 3-point shot. They have a good squad to take this to take this team to take this team to the final. And I'm riding with them again to go to the final.
And I think Crowder can guard George. I think Crowder is a good enough defender but this LA team is kind of decent. But Phoenix Suns may go with still enough because you know what I'm saying. I'm always going to pick Phoenix Pioneer.
You see, we are said Ben Simmons stocks have fallen in the league. Devin Booker stock has risen way sky high in this postseason. Devin Booker, I was saying this to somebody yesterday that Booker was snubbed for the playoff game this year. He only got in because of somebody else got injured. All right.
For the All-Star.
All-Star game. Trae Young was also snubbed.
Yeah, that is true.
That definitely won't happen this next year. Those two players have basically stained themselves into the minds of the basketball loving public. And I can't see the voters leaving them out, even when they're having average early season next year, even when they're not performing at a high level. So these two players have actually raised their stocks. Devin Booker, I think of all the games I've seen him play, he showed me. We all know Devin Booker was a scorer, a volume scorer, as a volume shooter at the ball back in early times. Fearless player, but what he showed me last night was maturity. Him sure we said him can be a distributor, facilitator last night. He played maybe one of the best overall games I've ever seen him play in my life. This is a man who has scored 70 points in the NBA. And I watched that game live. And I thought last night's game was a better game than the 70-point game. He had an all-around great game last night. This Utah has increased his stuff. Where the series is concerned now. This series for me now are the one where I got 7 games. This Clippers team, with or without Kawhi Leonard, is a very deep team. Very talented. When I look and see Tyler bringing Boogie Cousins off of the bench last night. Boogie Cousins, who only played in the first 2 games of the Utah series, and then in bench him basically. He's gonna require more from Boogie in this series. He's gonna need somebody to go up against Ayton. Because Zubac can't manage it, and Batum can't manage it. He's gonna so you see Boogie get. So when you have somebody like Boogie at the end of your bench, Boogie is for me, Boogie still have a lot for another. When you have somebody like Rondo, who hardly get minutes, it speaks to the depth of this Clippers team, with or without Kawhi Leonard.
Yes, Rondo.
I think for me, I think what Clippers needs to do, them need to win game 2, definitely, tomorrow night. If Chris Paul doesn't come back tomorrow night and Clippers loses game 2, they're gonna be in problem if Chris Paul come back for game 3. I'm expecting Clippers to win tomorrow night. I expect a long series. I expect a 7-game series. 7-game series with Phoenix having the home court. If Kawhi comes back by the 7th game, I pick the Clippers. If Kawhi not come back, then I think Phoenix can pull it.
All right, Chris Lynch, you were going to say something.
Yeah, Rondo can hardly find himself minutes because Ty Lue has trust Beverly and Reggie Jackson, and they have showed him back why they need to be trusted. They have really played well, shooting the 3 ball like they are any big 3-point shooters, especially in that game.
Imagine that.
In that game 6 against Utah.
Imagine Beverly as a 3-point shooter. Wow.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, I listen to you, man. I listen to you, Chris.
Yeah, but Suns, I think they are just as deep, and the young players are just keep on overperforming. That's what it is. They are overperforming, and I don't know how long it's gonna last for, but I thought it was going to be done somewhere in that Lakers series and just keep going on. They're shooting lights out. Just to note, remember that they just sweep the Joker. It's sweep, they
Yeah.
sweep him.
And
So you have to take them very serious.
confidence.
Yeah, you have to take them very serious.
You know what I fear most with LA Clippers is I never rated Ty Lue until I watched that game 7. That the Clippers came back against the Jazz. And I said to myself, they won this game not because of how good George is or how good Kawhi. It had to do with how good Ty Lue coached that team. For him to give so many shots, cause so much play for man, that
man.
that man, that you know how big that is for a young player. A coach cannot put that kind of confidence in a game 7, and a young player to call plays for him to make that kind of adjustment in a game 7. When you have a Paul George, you have a Rondo, you have a Boogie Cousin, you have a Morris, you have all of these players, and for you to call plays for somebody, it says a lot about his coaching acumen. And I would say that if there's anything the Phoenix, that's why I think Chris Paul coming back is important for the Suns, because without Chris Paul to be the floor general, I think Ty Lue could outcoach this Monte Williams.
But don't
Very good coach.
don't discount Monty Williams.
Really?
Don't discount Monty Williams. Monty Williams is a genius, you know. Yes, man. No, man, come on. He, as a matter of fact, for me, he's the coach of the year. You know.
Just to have
coach
this
of the year,
team
man.
play like this, man, should tell you about what type of
and
job
he's
he's doing.
He's a very good tactician. Very good tactician, man. But even though I'd say, if I were to judge this postseason based on all the adversities that Ty Lue and the Clippers have gone through, would I give Ty Lue the slight coaching edge. But Monty Williams is no snub. He's no Doc Rivers. He's a real good coach. He's a tactical coach.
Well, you know, but Doc Rivers win championship though.
I know, man, but I'm just thinking.
You know,
yeah, man, anyway, but what does I say? Yes, Doc, as I said, Doc is muddying up his resume right now. Doc's resume.
He's doing the same thing over and over. You can't be doing that and want people.
All right,
but for me, that Western series will be a good series.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, I don't know if any of you have anything else to say, because I know that it's Monday night and yesterday was Father's Day, so it's family time and all of them think there's a Chris Lynch family is there now. We want to make sure that, because tomorrow you're not going to have time for them because you're going to watch basketball, so we want to make sure tonight. But is there anything you want to add, and then either on the basketball or the track and field as we close, or Pioneer, anything?
I didn't get to ask Pioneer what happened to his Jazz that one day.
Oh, yes!
Well, all right. All right. You see, the thing is that the series, all right. A couple of things. The injury to Conley, and he was out of the series, and then Donovan Mitchell's ankle. I'm taking nothing away from the Clippers and Ty Lue. That, as I said, the Clippers is a deep team. They played well.
Want to butter Hans Clarkson?
No, man, Clarkson was amazing.
No, that last
amazing. You know something I'm gonna beat the coach for? As I mentioned that, Chris. You know something I'm gonna beat the coach for? Going on the stretch in a game 7, you know the coach have had Conley on the court coming off injury instead of Clarkson. Clarkson is the second best shot maker. Why not? You're down by 6-7. You need your top shot maker on the court. This is how you to show yourself you can get hot and burn down the whole building. Why isn't Clarkson up on the court? Why you have Conley on the court?
Yeah. I think the coach lose that game because when he came back in the third quarter now, he should have brought back Clarkson to come and do the same thing again. You need because Clarkson was on fire, One of the times I don't know what Clarkson couldn't do nothing wrong, like nothing wrong. Just come off the ring, rolling, everything went right.
Yeah.
Put it this year, man. I think Clarkson changed Chris' mind about him. Right? I think next year, when Chris took on Clarkson next year, we'll look for him that totally different life.
Yeah, that
than
that
they did
that
at the
game
beginning of
alone
the
though,
season.
if he didn't have that game Pioneer, I would have still have the jury out on him. But
Then,
No,
that's
man,
game
all right.
management.
he
It
was
was
having
a
a
game
decent
7.
he was having a decent series up until then. But to do that in a game 7
Yeah, in a
speaks
game
to the
7, you cannot
fearlessness.
question him again. You
Yeah, man.
can't question his ability
Fearless,
again.
fearless,
He
fearless.
was up for the challenge, and I don't know. The coaches keep failing the players who keep showing them that they can trust them. Like
True.
what Pioneer just said. Here's an ex-player again that a coach just didn't give the chance again.
Yeah. Well, and then and I felt like and that's the thing because Mitchell obviously was, because one time when he fell down, it's almost like he's trying to protect his ankle, like he's still feeling
Yeah.
pain and playing. You could see that he was very protective when he was falling anytime on the court, because like the ankle was still giving him some issues, and maybe that is why he kept Conley on the court because he didn't want a lot of the ball handling responsibility to be with Mitchell. And if he pull out Conley and brought on
Clarkson can play the same role to man. Clarkson is a playmaker too, and
as Conley.
he's a good ball. Not,
Yeah.
not as great a flow general, but he has shown that him can be a good ball handler and a distributor. But what was needed at that time, Mannings, was shot making. Key to that series too was Rudy Gobert getting exposed. I can't believe the Terrence man dunk on Rudy Gobert and a stun on him through.
I want dunk man.
No, he did it in a game 5 and he did it come back and do it in a game 6 again. He did it in game 5.
No, man.
At one point, Rudy Gobert was afraid for girl come out on the perimeter, come get the youth.
Let
me telling about defensive player. Now, and here is what I got to my favorite player now. That could not happen to a German Green. Not the other way. There could be no player who could punk my player like that.
That's a good note. That's a good note to end on management.
Yeah. Because we're not going to German Green.
That's a good note to end on management.
Listen, people, we're not going to a German Green conversation any at all. You understand me? So yeah, man. But listen, so you hear the picks. Phoenix Suns. Out of the, I think all three of us agree that unless Kawhi come back, it is Phoenix Suns. Even with Kawhi, I think the Phoenix Suns, because he's coming back from injury, Chris Lynch and Pioneer is figuring that if Kawhi come back, he could see the Clippers.
I think it's a 7-game series. I give Clippers a good chance, but I think them probably gonna need Kawhi for win the series. But I am, and I'm for me Bucks in a short series.
Yeah, man.
I think Chris Paul think that this is his real shot. If he's supposed to win a ring, if he cannot win it right now, then the
window closed.
Yeah, I think the window closes right now, and this is the best chance of him getting one. Really, there's not a team that he should be scared of.
I want you one to you, Chris, and I want to bring it out to the radio world. Is this Chris Paul's best supporting cast of all the teams that he has played?
Repeat, Pioneer.
Is this Chris Paul, this Phoenix team that Chris Paul is playing? Is this his best supporting cast of all the teams that he has played?
What I'll say is that if you add the coach, I would say yes. But if you exclude the coach, I would say no.
You would say no. You would say the Clippers team with Drake Griffin.
The Clippers was a good best team with the wrong coach.
Yeah, the Clippers. I think the Clippers. Because most of the Phoenix players right now, they are overachieving. Like I said, I don't think Pioneer or Manningsman or anyone really think outside of Booker and Ayton, there would have been much firepower coming from there. Cameron Payne has been really good, but those are what you would call, even what's his name? The defender that Management was talking about.
Crowder.
Yeah, even those are overachievers.
Crowder was in the finals last year with Miami. Yeah, from Miami.
Yeah, but he's shooting the tree like him named Steph Curry cousin, Like
yeah, man. Well, listen, thank you so much. G-Star, same up big basketball game, people. and him can't miss the basketball game. He said coming off injuries and he need to go work out and thing. But he said next time you understand. So big up G-Star wherever you are. Big up Coach Minzy for joining us. Chris Lynch, thank you so much. Thank your family for allowing you because understand me. I know when him come in is their time, so we kind of dive into a little bit of your time. Thanks to Pioneer, supposed to be up here, but had to turn back and things. I really appreciate the link. And this way is probably easier, but we can do some more because after 6 games, we could be coming back to tell you that the Atlanta Hawks defeated the Milwaukee Bucks 4-2, and the Suns knock off the Clippers and we're into the final. But we'd love to talk again.
We'll talk again. We'll talk again right after the trials.
Right after the trials because we want to see those times.
Sunday or Monday. Right after the Jamaican JTH. Yeah.
Right after the trials. So thank you again so much. Listen, stay safe. You understand me, Christian.
All right, yeah, man. Take care, Pioneer.
Yeah, man.
Respect, man.
Take care, Pioneer, man.
Yeah, man. All right. Respect. Yeah, man. There you have it, people. Our NBA and track and field show. And before we close, we are going to just, have to play our outro. So again, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the comments. Big up Piney. Big up Delgado, Simit, Marlon Nelson. Big up yourself. DJ Liverpool Romain. Big up yourself. And thanks for joining Coach Men's countryman or Mr. Holmes. Yeah, man, a lot of respect. Remember, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, like and share. This is I Am Sure Sports. I am Omar Stennett Manningsman, aka they call me Pastor, them call me Beanie, them call me so many different names, but no problem. You know where to find me, you know what I'm about. All right, so here we go.
I Am Sure Sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here. So, for the day done, you are gonna love over your son.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.